Capoeira changed my life. How? I feel like I belong to something very powerful, just very
Mm.
powerful, very powerful. It's capoeira. The history, the suffering, the hardships, the death, the torturing makes this thing strong and big inside of you.
Mm.
And I feel like I'm going to fight for this. I'm going to bring enlightenment when I can to people who want to know about this art or think they're misleading the art. But how capoeira changed my life is to have that mindset or belong to something very, very big. Not a corporation, not Google, not Apple, not this, not that, not dressing this way. Nothing that matters.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Reflections on Capoeira podcast. My name is Broderick, and I'm very excited to initiate this podcast. Today is our inaugural episode. I have a very special person to me here that I'm going to interview and have a conversation with about their life experience in capoeira, their philosophy, their vision in capoeira. This is for English-speaking audience, and we are excited to share the wisdom from the elders in capoeira and really sit at their feet and learn as much as we can about this beautiful, amazing art form that we love and we cherish so much. So I won't belabor it with talking too much here. I want to introduce you to Mestre Itaborá Ferreira. Mestre Itaborá is a very special teacher for us here in the Bay Area. He's been in Capoeira a long time. I'm going to let him share his story, his bio. But he's been in Capoeira a long, long time, and his vision of Capoeira, I think, is very beautiful. He's really encouraging us to connect with each other and use capoeira as a vehicle for developing a beautiful society. And at least that's my interpretation of what he's been presenting to us here in the Bay Area. But I'm going to be quiet right now and allow Mestre to start this off by saying a little bit about himself and where he's from and whatever he likes to say.
All right. That's awesome. First of all, my brother, Broderick, thank you very much for this invitation. I'm very honored. For the audience, I think we met each other over 10 years ago because Salim was
Mm-hmm.
here.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, we clicked right away. His soul is so beautiful. So every time I see Broderick, I see light. I see this very light, beautiful soul, so peaceful, so grounded. And I think, well, once is his personality, his maybe upbringing, or things that shaped him to be in this way. But I also believe Capoeira Angola gave him an extra to be the way he is, so peaceful, so amazing. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity. Thank you very much. When you talked to me about, I don't know, 2 months ago, I was like, oh my God, me? Oh my, ay, ay, ay. I'm so grateful. Um, he requested earlier a bio, and I can send the bio later, but I also like to talk about things I have done or I have seen, and the bio is good. I don't question those things that people say. I think it's nice. Well, sometimes people exaggerate a little bit. I have as a funny story. I have many stories, but I'll
Mm-hmm.
be short. When I was in New York in 1983, living with Mestre Vieira, somebody sent the old fax, so the paper goes, you just pull, it's like this long fax sheet, and this guy is sending his bio from LA, and among many things, he says, I'm a Capoeira Master. I never heard his name, so. And I have a black belt in Makulele. And I was like, this fact is not for me, but I feel like that was like, sorry, no. Because Mestre had a dancing company, right, called Dance Brazil. And he performed a lot of great shows. He's a very amazing person. So basically this guy is applying for a job in case Mestre needs a extra capoeira performer. He can call this guy in LA. But when he says, I'm a black belt in Makulele, I thought, no. I started in Rio in 1970s, going to street rodas. My neighborhood, Gloria, which is border to Lapa, just one street over. These images I never forget. So there's it's still there. There's a plaza there called Praça do Russell, and there's a statue of San Sebastian, which is the godfather of the Rio de Janeiro, the city, Rio. And the plaza gets dark at night. There's no much light, even to this day. So when I go there, I drive by or walk by with Chitra, and she can see by having very, very low lighting. It gives authenticity to my stories, So there, every night, there'll be a group of 6 to 8 people. And when you have the circle, and they have one beating ball, and they'll jump in, and back then, that was the capoeira they're playing, which is like kick the thigh, galopante in the face, benção on the chest. A little ginga, kick on the thigh, galopante on the face, kick on the chest. And you are in that circle, and you feel like, oh my God, what is this? Do I go in or I don't? What do I do? But that's the legacy of capoeira in Rio, which is from the Malta time to the Republic. On the white society, were, a lot of people don't know this, but the white members of the upper level of society, they were teaching capoeira in very fancy clubs. Expensive clubs. The membership was like people from the what do you call, the politics environment, academics, teachers, doctors. So people were military, a lot of military clubs, academies, not clubs, academies. So that's how serious they took capoeira as a fight back then. So the legacy was carried over. Like I think 1940, 1950, there was the senhorzinho style. It was like very famous, which was like grappling, throw to the floor, kick the shin, kick the leg. So that was the senhorzinho style. And there were other styles with booklets and manuals to, what's allowed in capoeira, what's not, whatever. So that capoeira that I was witnessing every night was a legacy of the Maltas. Eventually people just come from behind and just boom. It's like you go into the water. You're going to learn how to swim inside the pool, inside the ocean. You're going to survive. So one day somebody jumped pushed from my back, and I'm like, and then boom, it comes like kick here. It's like a pattern. It's like a sequence. Boom, I'm like, and then got a punch in the face. And hands on the chest. I roll over. But it takes one day to recover. 2 days later, you come back. Because that's your neighborhood. These are your friends. This is like, I want to do this. I need to overcome that because, I go to soccer games every Saturday, and we fight. We fight. It's just not in the sequence, you know. So, Broderick, at age 10, I was initiated in Candomblé de Angola, Candomblé de Caboclo, and then I became a drummer, organ, and then I started seeing a lot of similarities, a lot of connections, like this, but put this way. So from that roda, I was upgraded, myself upgraded, to go to another roda about 5 minutes away every Sunday at Praia do Flamengo, the Flamengo Beach, which is between the sugar loaf mountain and downtown Rio. There's a big bay right there, and Flamengo's in the middle. There's a roda there by the beach every Sunday. Now, but that's a much more elaborated roda, 30 people, 3 birimbaus. You know, the roda I went is just 1 birimbau, 8 people, and then boom. This roda there was actually masters, like Mestre Huca was there, Mestre Corvinho, Mestre Corvão. There were some names there. Of course, I didn't know anybody. You just hear, oh, this Mestre such and such, this Mestre. So slowly, you started, people introduced these names to you, you know. And again, my first roda, a Praia do Flamengo, I felt these emotions like, oh my, this is strong, you know, the bateria, the rhythm, people singing, the sweat, the sun, you know, and I felt very different from the little plaza. And then it also in some ways is intimidating because you see people with capoeira pants and cords, or the people like nothing, just ready to play, all kinds of games. And it's like this diversity of people and styles and music and singing. It's just like an amusement park. You're like, wow, you know, which ride do I go? So my first roda I didn't jump in. The second Sunday I went there and I felt like, shoot, I don't know anybody here, but I'm going to pick up the guy who I think is not very aggressive, which now I understand, which is a mistake, because they fake a lot, they play dumb. A beginner jumps in, boom. And I jumped in and it was, I'm sure it was, I was nervous, and I'm sure everybody read it. So the first guy was just moving around, putting some kicks on me, and then somebody buys a game, and not exactly the same sequence. He just cut short to the benção. Boom! And Itabora just rolls over the roda, and the heart is like, what do I do now? And I'm not going back. I'm not going back. But I left that roda with another understanding. I said, man, this is just beautiful, powerful, and there's a calling. I need to find out about more rodas. And my neighborhood, it was a cradle for capoeiristas. I didn't know. I knew maybe 2 or 3, besides those eight guys at the process. Like 3 of them were criminals, like really, really heavy. And I didn't consider them to be mestres or anything like that. They're just like guys who just like to go inside the circle and do kick on the leg, galopante and benção. Yeah, there's a capoeira element there with the malandragem, with the, you know, the criminal aspect of people being delinquent. But the Praia do Flamengo roda was different. And then I felt this calling. You add that to my candomblé background, I felt being brought in to this art form, not by choice. This is by a calling. And then I started searching for more rodas. And then I'm going to a lot of street rodas. It's just a matter of time to join the Senzala group, which is the closest to me. Not to mention that there were 3 major players in my neighborhood, very influential to me. One was Paulinho Malandro, or Paulinho Chocolate, very tiny guy, skinny, very brave, very, very brave. I saw him putting people down at street fights with a martelo. I saw him putting people down with a rasteira and a melody compass on the head. I was like, oh my God, it's a tiny guy. It's very like Sabiá from Luanda, you know, a heart this big, but all capoeira. We became very, very good friends. He was a soccer player. And then there was a guy, BL, who is still there, Sometimes you get in touch, amazing person, great capoeirista, very technical, not a fighter, but a tough guy in other ways, I mean, you don't need to be a fighter to be tough. So Biel and Paulinho Malandro were my first reference, and we're both from Senzala group with Mestre Peixinho. So I went to I went to the Senzala group, which is before us, all these masters teaching in one place, Mestre Peixinho, Mestre Gato, Mestre Itamar, Mestre Camisa. So then I went to start my schooling, which is different for street roda, but I thought like going to school will enhance my knowledge, my learning about the art form. And close to my neighborhood, I actually walked to the academy every day there was class. There's a club there, a popular club, it's still there, called Santa Luzia. It's a rowing club. There's a set of 4 clubs, and then the airport, Santos Dumont, behind it. So from my neighborhood, Gloria, it's a walk, right? 10 minutes max. Santa Luzia, very popular. The weights were like cans of empty cans of butter, and they put cement and you just all crooked, you pump, But that was like, nowadays it'll be maybe a $5 a month membership. But there was capoeira there, it was affordable, and I went there, and that's when I joined Mestre Camisa, and I started training like crazy. And so, of course, I'm going deeper and deeper and deeper into the art form, and going deeper and deeper into street rodas every weekend. So all of a sudden, my life changed because I used to play soccer. Soccer is gone, which is a big deal for Brazilians. And soccer is gone. I was very also into flying kites, which is a big thing in Rio, because it's a game. You put it's a process. You ground fine glass, you mix with glue, and you put in a string of your kite, and then you fly the kite, you cut the string of others. It's a game. So you look at the sky on Sunday by my neighborhood at the Praia do Flamengo, there's 30, 40 kites doing that. There's a maneuver. When you cut it, you also release your string to catch it. I mean, if you cut a kite and you catch it, oh man, people buy you lunch. And then you pull, and then you land your kite, you take the winning kite, you put it in a pile. The worst thing though, Broderick, is when you cut that kite, you celebrate it, because a lot of maneuver, they try to cut you off too. Mm-hmm. But when you cut it, comes a third party and cut both. So I quit all that for capoeira. My life became capoeira. It's like train every day, going to class at 4 p.m., come back at midnight. I took 3 classes, then I trained on the side because there's a heavy bag, boom, 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 boom. 5 days a week, weekends, batizados, events, street rodas. Famous ones, Caxias, Penha, Quinta da Boa Vista, São Cristóvão, Arpoador, Poço, I mean, you name it, I was there. So you become it. I mean, I didn't become capoeira yet, but I'm on my path. And I felt like, even candomblé, my obligations with the sacred were set aside. Because there's a strong calling for capoeira. Broderick, I wish he could go back on a tunnel, time machine, to see this development. How my life went 180. And I even stopped going to that Plaza Roda. Although, before this huge immersion, this is crazy, before I answered the calling, so Saturday, my routine before the calling was to go to the beach, Flamengo, and play soccer on the sand. You stay there for 3 hours, hanging out, blah, blah, blah. And then you go up to the street in Lapa, all the way up. There's an empty building, a construction never ended. I don't want to say it abandoned. My accent is bad. But it's a construction that went halfway and then people quit. They got the money for the government and just like, forget it. So Broderick, that was Fight Club. We're on the pioneers, you know. We'd go there about 5 to 6 guys after soccer. And there was this little floor. On the first floor, there was a cement area. There was nothing there. But there was a gap of about 4 feet, 3 to 4 feet. I never forget that. From the first floor down to the ground floor. And that's a fall of maybe 10 feet. So one berimbau, and our goal is to kick each other and drive to that gap. Who's thinking? Nobody's thinking. If somebody falls, you're going to break your ankle. Minimum, you're going to break your ankle.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, I think we're skilled enough from the Plaza Roda not to let that happen. But we came home with a lot of bruises. A lot. Ribs, shin, thigh, face. But after the immersion, after calling, I said, I'm wasting my time doing that. There's no point in doing that.
How old were you? Around that time, about how old?
Yeah, 10, 12, 13.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, but then when the immersion starts, and I went 100% with capoeira. It's 100%. That was my initiation for the becoming. Luckily, Broderick, the street element, we don't have that much here, unfortunately. We do what we can. Like your hall is amazing. I have to be there. I have to go there one day. I haven't been there yet. But those open rodas are important. The street rodas is the essence of the art, in my opinion, because you deal with ancestors right there. The elements are there. So my background with the street rodas built up my foundation to be where I am. Capoeira schools, even in Brazil, you go to Capoeira school, there's a lot of restrictions and limitations. You know, you teach what you think is acceptable to the membership, for people who pay, for the parents who come to bring their kids, for people to leave their job, the tech jobs, they come to Capoeira class. So considering that you're not a Capoeira school guy only, you know, but if you grew up in a Capoeira school environment, you grew up with those limitations, and depending where you are, you add more limitations. You may grow up on a popular club learning Capoeira on a YMCA, for example, right? There are some restrictions right there. But then you go to a Google campus to teach Capoeira there, where there'll be more limitations. So your options to teach, to be truth to the roots of the art, are kind of fading away and getting weaker because you adapt into these new environments. YMCA is not the same as a street roda, but it's very different from a Google campus. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me, is a concern, but there's nothing I can do about it. I'm just sharing my thoughts in this podcast. So for me, luckily, growing up in Rio with a lot of street culture, I forgot the book. I have this book that I read. It's so cool. It's about the street culture of Rio. When I read the book, in many chapters I cried because I saw myself there doing all those things the guy's talking about. I lived with this. I think I answered your questions. The street culture in Rio is so rich. So every day I went out, it's adventure. It's always learning something, seeing a bunch of stuff, so colorful, so diverse. Then you're in the streets by on your own, learning and having fun and being scared and running. So luckily I grew up with that. And then when I started growing up with a lot of street rodas in the inner cities where the culture is. The black culture is in the inner cities. There's no black culture in the south zone of Copacabana and Rio. Very little. but you go to Madureira, Cascadura, Belfort Roxo, Nova Iguaçu, Caxias, it's the birth of black culture from the turn of the century, when Tia Seata came from Bahia. That's another story. We may get there. So going to these rodas in the inner cities, you are the black culture all around you. Because after capoeira, there's pagode, there's samba de roda, there's feijoada, there's hanging out. And hanging out is part of the African culture. There's not like, okay, bye, I'm leaving. No, there's no such a thing. There's no bye, I'm leaving. So I would leave my house, for example, Saturday, people talk, oh, there's a roda in Coelho Neto with Mestre Nacional, a Quilombo. His school is called Quilombo. Let's go. And then, I had to take like sometimes 2 buses, 1 bus, 1 train to get to this roda, and you get there, blah, blah, blah. So after the roda, there is a split pea soup at this house with chicken, and then pagode. Mm-hmm. So when you look at your watch, it's 7 p.m. And I left my house at 10 a.m. to get the roda by 10, by 12. And all of a sudden it's 7 p.m. And you don't want to leave. It's so much fun. Can't go back. It was amazing times. Amazing times, brother. Very rich, culturally rich. And that's your anchor, and that's how the ancestors survived, and that's why this art is here. Because of those gatherings. And there are more with other art forms, other rituals, candomblé de caboclo, samba de roda, jongo. So the Africans knew how to put it together to survive up to this day. So people, capoeira is Brazil. It's not only capoeira, it's a mistake, be careful. It's the African diaspora. Capoeira is part of it. Mm-hmm. Oh, I like feijoada. Feijão is great. Well, there's a lot of elements that make feijoada. You didn't eat feijão plain, just feijão. Feijoada has a lot of elements. And meat and seasoning and this and that. The African diaspora is a lot of cultural elements that cannot be neglected, cannot be ignored. I think the understanding, and I think we talked about it, I talked to everybody here, including Brazilians. You want to understand about capoeira? Research the African diaspora. You're going to have a better understanding of capoeira and Africans and black history and the black movement and the black resistance and the Irmandades and all the things they did. And capoeira is included. So anyways, and at 7 p.m. I was like, shoot, I think I have to go home. You go home. Get home by 8, 8:30. You crash. There's not much to do. You don't have TV, or if you have, is very limited. It's soap operas that my grandmother kind of, it was her TV, so she's going to have soap opera all day. But Sunday, Itabora is out again. If I don't go to the Flamengo Beach Roda, I go to another inner city Roda. Same process. What is that? Oh, Nova Iguaçu. Then you figure out the bus route. 2 buses, 1 train. Or maybe 1 bus and a long train. The train is fun. Ride on a train. All the street vendors are inside the train. Popsicles, peanuts, sandwiches, coffee, pagode, music, accordions, rappers. So you don't feel the trip. 1 hour trip, you just don't feel it. Awesome. Street performance, street culture. There's so much inside the train. The street culture comes to the train. And all of a sudden, hey, you arrive, final destination. And you go find a roda, And then after that, I was doing a lot of shows in theaters, in nightclubs, in cruising ships that came to the port in Rio. So we invited to go there and do shows there. And then a lot in public schools. A lot. Capoeira shows. And then, capoeira is... And then I was teaching in the community up where I lived. It's like I lived very, very close, like 3-minute walk. So another calling, because I'm going to capoeira school, but it's like I don't forget my roots. I know where I came from. Nobody should forget the roots. I was talking to my son last night, and I said, no. I'm gonna go there. And he was, oh wow, be careful, the drug dealers and this and that. This is not. I'm okay. I'm a capoeira guy. I don't have to fear anything. Have you been to those favelas?
In Salvador?
Rio. Yeah, in Salvador.
No, not Rio. No.
In Rio. Well, it's, we don't call favelas anymore.
Yeah.
They're communities. But they are, they're just a rough environment, So we find this empty home, empty barraco, floor, dirt floor, all full of, holes here, very uneven. It's dirt. And nobody knew the owner. It was a small, I don't know, 15 by 15 feet, But people knew me from the neighborhood. Everybody knew me. I'm a street guy forever. So when I went up, and I knew a lot of people from there. We went to school together. We went to school together. And I said, I'm going to start teaching capoeira there. Wow, boy, yeah, because nobody had money to go to school, capoeira school. And there's nothing going on there. And it's part of the roots. But, So you go up there, there's a big open field. I said, I can do it here, But then people say, if you do it here, the drug dealers will be upset because you bring attention to the place, blah, blah, blah. Let's find a place for you, like indoors. And we found this place. And I was there 3 times a week in the afternoon, teach a bunch of kids. Oh my God, Broderick. Sometimes they'll come with their guns. I mean, not a little gun, a AK-47. Said, teacher. I said, hi. Can I put my gun on that corner and Ginga next to the gun? Yeah. Can you put pointing that way? No problem. I said, oh my God. Bora, Ginga. But, and then I started in 1980. I started Capoeira Roda by the farmers market. And I started Capoeira Roda there. And then everybody from the community came down. I'll go another interesting story. They were my students, right? I mean, they were my students. I never saw like that, but they were my students. So they all came down with their parents, those who had parents, to see a Capoeira Roda with more people coming in, people from all the schools, Senzala, sometimes from far away they came in, and I'm holding the fort. And sometimes things got rough. There were like 8-10 guys from another capoeira school from inner cities hunting for capoeira rodas to beat up everybody. And here by myself with all these kids, the other capoeira schools visiting, they're neutral. I said, this is Itabora's deal. These guys come from another school. We're not gonna engage. They're going after Itabora. And I was like, my God, I'm in trouble. But here's the thing. Those kids, they came loaded. and they sensed it. Because we talked about it. We talk about capoeira. We talk about everything. Say, guys, street rods are tough. You deal with kind of stuff. People want to fight you. People want to stab you. Drunk people jump in. Kung fu people who jump in. Karate people. It's a street rod. So be alert. And they sensed it. So they'll come and they organize this strategy. There'll be 4 people on the outer ring circle watching the development of things. those guys who came from the inner cities to challenge me, they're not stupid. They notice 4 people in the lookout, and sometimes they notice the pieces, and they're like, "Hey guys, slow down, slow down." So luckily, never happened. There's a famous, I'm not going to mention names, but there's a famous capoeira teacher, Mestre, who's still there. He's still there. He's a badass capoeira, fought everybody, but also part of a vigilante group. They would find somebody doing bad things to somebody, and a bad crime, raping, whatever, they would just exterminate it. Just to give you an idea. One night he was telling me and Chitra had, like, we were in this van together, going to an event, and we were friends. We're very good. Back then, now. After that, we became friends. It's like, Itaborá, he was a police officer and a vigilante guy on the side. One day, these guys, they killed the whole family, and we hunt them, we found them, we went to this community to find these guys. It was 2 guys. We ended up killing 25 people that night. And I was like, wow.
Wow.
And Chitra paralyzed. Because Chitra was between him and me. She's in the middle in this van. He was like, wow, yeah, 25 guys in one night. We attacked the place around 10 p.m. and by 4 a.m. it's all done. I was like, wow. But I grew up with that, Broderick. Wow. It kind of normalized to me, which is bad. But, I'm debriefing a lot, so I'm okay. So they sensed it, that I had people on the lookout, So these are that type of people who come to my roda sometimes, And then in 1983, yeah, a friend of mine from the Senzala group, invited me to do an audition. I don't know what the audition was, blah, blah, blah. To make everything short, I ended up in Miami. I thought Miami was a country in Europe. That's how all I knew was about capoeira. All I cares about capoeira. And says, there's an opportunity for you to go to do an audition as a drum and capoeira person, to go to Miami. And I was like, Miami is a country in Europe. I have no desire to go to Miami or New York or any place else. This is where I am. This is my roots. This is my neighborhood. I'm happy. My routine, if there's not a capoeira roda on Sunday, I would be somewhere in a little plaza on a bench with my little radio, listen to soccer games. That was it. Nothing else made me happier. Miami, no. New York, no. But anyways, that's another story for another podcast. I ended up in Miami. And from Miami, there's a hook. Interesting calling, Broderick. Interesting calling. Is that okay if I share that?
Oh, yeah, please. All of it. It's great.
Because this is a guy who's reluctant. I have no documents. I don't know what a passport was. I passed the audition. But I passed for one reason. I accept to go to the audition. For one reason. Not because I want to go to Miami. No. Couldn't care less. Not because I want to go to New York. It's because he tried several times. He says, no. And then he says, there'll be 25 guys there applying for this position. 25 drummers. And I thought, now you provoke me. I can beat them. I'm going to go. I brought my drums, my repiki. There was a drummer there, a tabaki. And I'm in the audience, like, waiting for my turn. Watch everybody play. And very cocky, very confident. Itaborá Ferreira. Sit in the audience, wait for the results. An hour later, you passed, you in. It's like, thank you. I grab my instrument out the door. What is that? Come back here. Like, are you crazy? I said, no, I came here just to do that. I came here to beat them up. I got it. I'm going home. No, no, no. A lot of like made me sit, explain the whole thing. I'm still not convinced. And he says, look, even if you don't want to go, we're going to pay you to rehearse. There'll be a 3-month rehearsal period. And you're going to get paid in dollars. And my friend says, take it, man. It's like a job. You have no job right now. You're selling oranges on the streets in your capoeira school. And you're selling honey. You get a job, $150 a week. Back then, the inflation was so high. Just take as a job. 3 hours every day in the afternoon. $150. I was like, exactly. I'm poor. I'm struggling. And then, okay, so after that, I quit. So, well, we'll talk about it. I did it, for 3 months. And then I remember the last month, it says, okay, what do you think? You think about going? I said, no, I don't want to go. And he insisted and says, well, if you want to go, of course they're going to triple this. I'm going to be like, it's going to be $1,000 a week. I was like, that's tempting. You can help your family, blah, blah, blah. All the emotional appealing. I said, okay, I think I'm going to go. How long? 3 months. Okay, I can manage 3 months. But I don't speak this language. But don't worry, there'll be people with you, this and that. And then he says, you need a passport. Do you have a passport? So what's a passport? I had no idea. Oh my God. What planet do you live? I said, I don't know. What's a passport? He explained to me, and in Rio, or in Brazil, to get your passport, you need to go to the FBI. Me? To the FBI? Never. I'm so scared to be arrested. I have a lot of subpoenas. I had a lot of callings to go to face the inspector, the police chief. I said, I'm not going. I'm not going. And there's another call. Let me tell another. Is that safe to tell another one?
Yeah.
Well, let's rewind a little bit. Got into this fight with this guy who was threatening my grandfather, who was 80 years old, and such a coward thing. Come home from capoeira class. My grandfather is shaking. And I asked, oh no, this young guy says he's going to beat me up because your uncle did something. I said, who? Such and such. I wait for this guy all night. He comes, climb the street, going up to the community. I stopped and said, what are you doing? How come you threaten my grandfather? Are you crazy? You deal with me. Oh, no. A lot of talk. I says, okay, I'll find you again. Make sure you change your tone and apologize to him. He never did. And then 3 weeks later, it's a Saturday morning, around 10 a.m. He's coming from the street for the farmer's market with his family, wife and wife's mother. And he tells his wife, that's the guy who wants to beat me up. The wife gets an umbrella and tosses on my shoulder. I was like, what is that? So then I felt like, no, I'm not going to take it lightly. So I went after him and I started beating him up. She came behind me with the umbrella again, hitting me. I turned around, I grabbed the umbrella, I pushed her to the floor. The mother came, started throwing eggs and potatoes on my back. And I pushed the mother again. It was crazy. And then the police comes. Somebody comes on a motorcycle. Said, Itaborá. But the police doesn't know who I am. It's just like this commotion, right? So they come through. My friend goes, jump in. And they just zoom to a community far away from my neighborhood. Central do Brasil. All the way to the top. That's Capoeira Network. And the guy says, stay here. It's an empty, like the place I was teaching in the community. It's an empty room. It's going to bring you clothes and water and food because you cannot go back there. Things are hot. They're looking for you. So I stayed for a week. He told my grandparents, like, he's okay, he's safe, but he cannot come. He cannot come. The police, it's too much heat right now. Listen, Broderick, please listen to this. Listen why. When I tell you it's a calling, it's a calling. I know a lot of people, especially here, and I understand it, totally understand it. This caller takes away sometimes some authenticity or my roots, so I mean, that's okay. That's really okay. But I know the calling. There's a capoeira guy from the Praia do Flamengo, local. He was an angoleiro, pay attention. He was the only one who was an angoleiro from that street, from the beach road that I told you, Praia do Flamengo. And it was a big guy, he moves very slow, and everybody's talking about this. Itabora, be careful. Capoeira Angola is very dangerous. And you think dangerous is all this kicking and martelo and marmada and pisão and whatever, right? But these people told me, it's like, capoeiristas from that roda said, be careful, he's an angoleiro. They're very dangerous. They hide everything. And I was like, oh, okay. I don't want to play with him. Ever. We became friends because he's local. He's local. I didn't know that. He's local. But here's the thing, Broderick, and the audience. He works for the police station where the subpoenas were. And he told me, Itabora, there's this big one. They're going after you. I put, back then you had a file cabinet. So I put yours way, way on the bottom of the shelf, of the drawers, at the bottom of the subpoenas. It's going to take about 13 months until the police chief gets there. So you have 13 months to clean your act. So, oh my. So that's Capoeira saved me again, So to make everything short, they arranged for a broker to get a passport for me because I said I'm not going to go to the FBI. No. I got a passport, I arrived in Miami, blah, blah, blah. From Miami, there's a hook to go to New York. From New York, after 5 years, Miami, I want to go back. Capoeira grabs me. I can tell that later if there's time. But in Miami, I had my tickets to go back to Brazil. Something grabs me, Capoeira grabs me, says, no. You're not going back to Brazil. So Capoeira takes to Bermuda for 3 months. And I want to go back to Brazil. My grandfather is sick. And I'm tired of being, whatever. And then in Bermuda, I got my ticket to go back to Rio. Capoeira says, you're not going back to Rio yet. You're going to go to New York. Takes to New York. There's a funny story in New York because it's all linked to Miami, but I'm going to tell you what it is right now, just quickly. In Miami, I was giving Mestre Itaborá's phone number. I don't know why, just randomly. I was like, oh, okay. I put in my book. I was reading a book. I got to New York, JFK. I said, oh, shoot, what do I do, I have to stay overnight. Well, I'm going to sleep in the airport. I had a lot of luggages. I brought 20 birimbaus, one surdo, my repique, and one atabaque. To Miami, I didn't sell anything in Miami. People tell me I'm going to sell. But, and then I am in New York City with all this stuff. And I remember, I have Mr. Lone's number. I'm going to call him. Go to the phone booth. And I said, oh, shoot, it's a quarter, not a token. And I'm staring at his phone. I was like, my God, what do I do now? Somebody taps on my shoulder, Broderick. People want me to put this in a book. And I turn around and I go, can I help you? And of course, back then I was like, huh? You speak English? It's like, no English. Que hablas? I was like, Português. And he says, eu falo português. Okay. Can you call this number? Sure. He calls the number, connect with Mestre Lone. Itaborá, what's going on? But then I was like, I got the address to go to his academy. Come to my academy, sleep over, tomorrow I'll take to the airport. Perfect. Boom. And then when I turn around, he says, Do you need anything else? I said, no, I don't. Thank you very much. Muito obrigado, muito obrigado, muito obrigado. He walks away, Broderick. And then I realized, I look at my luggages. 20 berimbaus, 20 cabaças, one surdo, one repique, and my own personal clothing. It's a lot of stuff. And I said, oh, wait, excuse me. Espera um pouquinho. O que aconteceu? What happened? No, I do need help. Look, these are my luggages. Can you call a taxi? Please, like a big one. Broderick. He says, no, I'm not going to call a taxi for you because I drive a limousine. At that moment, I look up to the ceiling, to the sky, and it says, oh my God, what is this? There's always something from Miami, from Bermuda, in New York City, that stops me from going home, even though I have the tickets. It's a calling, Broderick. So he puts everything on his limo. It's a limo. There's room for everything. Drops to the Mestre Gelon's Academy, bring everything up, blah, blah, blah. Sleep over. Mestre Boneco calls from Chicago. Hey, Itaborá, blah, 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 blah. I said, when are you leaving? Tomorrow night. No, stay. Because I have a lot of, whatever. I stayed. It's a lot of capoeira shows, a lot of performing, a lot of opportunities. I stayed. After 5 years in New York, got tired. Came to Batizado in San Francisco, Mestre Preguiça, in 1986, 87, 88, 88. And then Batizado, I had my ticket. I on my own, after 5 years in New York City, did a bunch of stuff, performing all over, travel all over this country, but also car wash, dishwash, bouncer, everything. Slept on the streets. This is my bio. So I come to San Francisco, but a week later, I had my tickets to go back to Brazil. I had my own apartment in New York City, renting in Washington Heights. And I start selling everything. I gave a notice to the landlord. And then Sunday, you know how it is, after the roda, after Batizado, after the event, people talking, little groups here and there, little pockets, people talking, I'm talking. This lady calls me, hey, Itaborá. I was like, look from far away, 20 feet away from me, this lady's waving. So, oh, hi, I go there and she kindly says, she knew my family in Brazil. She lived in Rio, in my street. Pay attention. She says, I know Albatroz, I know Chico e Teco, I know all those guys I initiated in capoeira. Cascão. I said, how come you know all these people? Oh, I train your school, Santa Luzia, in Associação in Rio with Mestre Camisa. I was like, wow. Yeah, and I know your parents, your grandparents are sick, your grandfather is sick. I said, how do you know all that? Because I spent one year in Rio at a English-Portuguese exchange program, one of those programs, and I end up living in your street. My neighborhood had a Malta. I didn't know these things. It's all connected. It's all the ancestors. Broderick. She says, I live in your street. So that's why I know all these people, and I know your situation. And I can help you with your green card. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
It's just unbelievable, Derek. When people, they go to these mafia things to buy green cards and fake marriages, whatever, and somebody's offering that to me. What do you say? If you don't have any faith on anything, you're going to lose everything. All these opportunities, because you have to have faith. After all the signs, you realize it's a sign. Capoeira is holding me here for a reason. And I'll tell you what, Broderick, I think I tell people, look, I'm not a talent player, I'm not a talent musician, I'm nada. I'm just a capoeira follower. I'm a caretaker. I'm not like, no, I'm Itaborá Ferreira. There's no poster with my name, Mestre Itaborá, or I don't want that. I'm a caretaker of the art. My main asset, Broderick, is that I never quit. For 54 years. I sacrificed marriages, fatherhood. Do I feel remorseful? I do sometimes. But when you follow a calling, there are sacrifices and consequences. People who came after me here from other sectors of society, from Brazil, they became for different reasons. If they went to school, they're PhDs right now. If they went into business, they are CEOs of big companies, or they build fortunes. They go back to Rio, to Brazil, they buy land, they buy business. They're very, very successful. Very, very financially successful. I drive Uber every day. Could I have gone that route? Obviously. All these years in America with those opportunities, with this, the doors are wide open. This, the doors go wide open. But there's not even like a temptation to do that. It's so crazy. It's like you lose interest. You don't have interest for that. I remember, just go a little tangent here, when people talk about, the doctors talk about, we're going to go into chemo, and, it's going to have the side effects, and one of them, you're going to lose your libido. It's like, okay, who cares? I'm not, this is not. But actually, when you lose your libido, really, you don't have any interest for anything from that area. You just don't. So I didn't have any like, oh man, I'm going to get this job, and then I'm going to make this much a month, and I'm going to buy a car. I didn't have that. As long as I am with capoeira, I'm fine. One of my American dreams, but it's not an American dream, it's an old dream, is to get educated. Always. I couldn't finish high school. And I thought there's something missing for me. I want that education. I think it's important, not because I want to get rich or get jobs, it's not about that. It's about there's something that I need to know. Because knowledge is important. It can be knowledge about what goes into making these glasses, So when I legalized, when I got my green card, I went to community college in Santa Cruz, Cabrillo College. And I'm fascinated. I'm taking all kinds of classes. The idea is to take classes and then transfer to a 4-year educational institution. After 3 years, I got a letter from the counseling department. Said, come to see us. Excuse me. And they talked to me about, like, what are you going to do? So, what do you mean? Well, you have 180 credits, but only 15 are transferable. Because you take all these fancy classes, history, anthropology, sociology, political science. And as a matter of fact, the paper I wrote about the Black Americans in Santa Cruz was the only one who picked up the topic on my history class. The teacher approved it, but he said this, Itabora, you're the only one in my 10 years of teaching Cabrillo College who picked up this topic. I'll tell you what, I'll give you, instead of 6 a semester, I'll give you 2 semesters to complete this study. Because you're interested tells me something. And I did. So the second semester I registered for his class, History of Santa Cruz County, Part 2, and then I presented it. And that work, Broderick, went to the museum as a to the books, the library, as a reference for people researching Black history in Santa Cruz.
Wow.
And then I didn't know that. He told me that. But the thing I didn't know, there's a community center there called Lauda Nelson, which is a black man who gave all his fortune for education when he died. So Lauda Nelson, so there's a community center named after him. And when I was browsing around, after moving to Oakland, I went there to visit my son. And there was this big metal plaque. It's not there anymore, but there was a big metal plaque, and my name was there. One of the community members who contributed to some kind of whatever. I was like, wow, I had no idea. But that's how Capoeira's leading me, is guiding me to these things, to do these things, you know. But anyways, and then I moved to Berkeley, and I realized there's a lot of fragmentation here with the group affiliation. Group such doesn't go there because that's group such. This group doesn't go there because we don't like group S. And then I was part of that as well with Abada. I was like, I don't like it. That's not me. And I started going everywhere. And I got a big retaliation from Abada. People want to beat me up. I went to Brazil. People beat me up. They label as a traitor. They label him as a weak person who is afraid to fight. All these things, and everybody else is bad. We're the only ones who are good. Everybody else is bad. I said, no. So I quit in 96. And then I was like, I'm yours. Because I belong to this group who the group thinks, the master thinks that he owns Capoeira. His way is the right way. And I left and I surrendered to this huge, powerful thing. And I said, I'm yours. Just guide me. I feel lost. 23 years in a cult-like environment where, like, we don't know what to do, we don't know where to go, you don't know how to act, you know, and I'm going back to my roots of street rodas, things that I saw, open the memory bank, and Capoeira guides me, and that's where I am. I became a Capoeira activist. And then one day, it's been 11 years ago, I said, Chitra, we need to do something about this thing. It's too much. You go to these events, it's 2 people from other groups. And the Capoeira schools here are very small, except Marcelo, Mestre Itaborá and Urubu. They saw also okay, 25 students. But you go to their events, their batizados, it's very small. Public participation, schools participate, nobody goes. I said, this is not Capoeira. This is not Capoeira. I didn't grow up with this. Let's do this. So, but I had a meeting with Mestre Itaborá, Urubu, Marcelo Caveirinha, and Preguiça. Preguiça always had a big group. But everybody's politics, fighting, gossiping, physical fighting, political fighting. Oh, God, it's so ugly. And I said, look, this is my idea. Let's get a permit, go to a park on Saturday morning, Sunday morning, afternoon, doesn't matter. And all the teachers, Mestre Preguiça, Itaborá, Urubu, Marcelo, each of us will teach a 20-minute class, a warm-up, just to bring people together. You bring your people, you bring your people, you bring your people, and then it can be uniform, no problem. Everybody gets to see each other. You have your representation, you have your banner, your flag. That's not a problem, but then it's going to be a way to break this ice so everybody can see each other. Oh, wow, and then people play, and then there'll be mediators, you know, it's like they avoid fighting and stuff like that. 20 minutes each, can be a 2-hour event, and then finish the big roda, bring watermelon, bring whatever. Boy, Itabora, great idea, blah, blah, blah. Nothing was done. Nothing was done. I called to set up the date. Oh, no, this weekend I can't. Call another one, nada. And I said, oh, God, I'm pulling my hair. Because I'm nobody, Broderick. I'm just a little guy, man. These are big guys. Marcelo Caveirinha, they have Mestre Itaborá. I'm nada. I'm just a little grain of sand. I was like, I don't want to be disrespectful to anybody. I know my position. I'm just zero, you know. And then I said, you know what? Capoeira is calling for this. I'm going to do it. I said, Chitra, let's rent a space and call it Bay Area Vadiando. And let's do it in a way there's no logos, no uniform, no identification in any way. It can be a plain shirt, jeans, whatever. No shorts. No grappling, no imposing of styles. It's vadiando. One rhythm for as long as the roda lasts. 1 hour, 3 hours, one rhythm. And it's going to be Angola based. That's it. We catch somebody grappling, hey. We catch somebody going rough, martelo, hey. Very nervous. I announced it. I did it on Temescal upstairs. And the first one, the list of requirements on the Facebook was huge. I said, this is not going to be for everybody, but if you come, I expect you to follow this. About 35 to 40 people came, and I remember they stepping in, like looking around, like, what is this? I remember Shipa, like, said, almost all of them are like this, you know. I say, hey, welcome, blah blah blah, and then we set up a roda with the banquinho, and then we start playing. And I'm keeping my eyes very sharp. We had a lot of people, not a lot of people, but at the end we had 45 people. We broke into 3 rodas, but I'm watching every roda. Sometimes they no grappling, no grappling. Then it was like a little aggressive, like no. That's a lot of coaching, a lot of monitoring, very stressing. But we did. 3 months later, I came Vadiando number 2, 60 people, 65 showed up. It's like, okay, that's a good sign. Mm-hmm. And most of them had come to the first one, and things are getting better. And then I had some mechanisms to bond more. I'll tell you that later. And then the third one was 80 to 100. And then I felt like, okay, I think we're achieving a goal. After that, on the 4th year, I said, Chitra, now I feel confident that people got the message. Those who like the idea are coming, and that's what we need. Offer a safe place for people to enjoy the art, you know. Now I want to do a teacher's encounter. And I did it, and it's in its 5th year. You know, this year you couldn't make it, but you know what I do? I talk about common topics that may be good for everybody. So about groups, and then I present lectures. I present the oralidade in capoeira, you know, cultural, oral culture, and authenticity in capoeira songs. I had this lecture already. I presented last year. I briefly present this year again. And I talk about the Irmandades, the religious organization that black people did. Very, very important. Very, very important. It has roots of Central Africa. But we'll see how it goes with the podcast. But this is what I am. This is part of my bio. Now I'll let you guide to the second question, whatever you want to talk about. Sorry. Took forever.
Nothing to be sorry about. This is great. This is what it's about, you know, just you sharing your story. I think there's so much wisdom embedded in a story when a person shares their experiences and the things that you've gone through. I've loved all of it, and I'm sure that the audience would gain something out of it. I don't know if they'll love it as much as I do, but I suspect that they would, because it's very enthralling and very interesting and fascinating. So no complaints whatsoever.
All right, thank you.
So I know you've kind of touched on a lot of this already, but I'm interested in can you highlight some of your major inspirations, some of your role models in capoeira? Some of the major characters in the capoeira world that has had a major influence on your perspective.
Yes, I had those 2 guys that I mentioned before for different reasons, right? Mm-hmm. You meet this street guy who's very brave, very skinny, like, and he embodies the capoeira element of the fighting, right? Mm-hmm. Capoeira has been always dangerous throughout history, you know. There's a time in Brazil, in Rio, between 1900 and 1920s, where there's a lot of fighting tournaments with people from different countries because of the merchant ships coming from other countries. So then we have wrestlers, boxers, jiu-jitsu, judo, capoeira sailors, and people like, let's organize a fight. You know, they announce a newspaper, and everybody signs up, and then boom, boom, boom. You know, so in capoeira, most of the time capoeira won. I mean, 9 out of 10 capoeira won, and people didn't know how. What is this thing? It's so dangerous. It's cabeçada, it's rabo de arraia, it's whatever. It's a survival element from being in very harsh environments. So Paulinho Malandro embodied that part. It's like, man, that's capoeira. A guy with no weapons, nothing, very skinny, fighting everybody, all these monsters and knocking people out. That was inspiration for that part. Then I had IBL, more grounded, more like a counselor, clean capoeira, nice, very good variação games and technical games. I was like, wow, that's nice. But a very good mentor. We talked a lot, and black family, they are blacks, right? A black family who really like fighting hard. The cruelty of racism is still here, you know. And they, going to school, managed to go to school and managed to take care of the family. 3 brothers. One was killed on a drive-by. Tadeu, also capoeirista. Then I had this person that you need to know. As a matter of fact, I may be sharing more things about him. Professor Flávio Gomes, professor of PhD in African history. We grew up together from kindergarten. Tum, black family. Tum, tum. His sister was in my classroom. He was in my classroom in the 1st grade, I think, but then he moved up. But with his sister, I stayed on for a while with her, moving to another, 2nd degree, 3rd degree, to high school until I quit. And then we started capoeira together, me and Flávio. Very interesting, Broderick. It came to a point where it's like, we're going to Capoeira Rodas, we're training, Senzala, and then he says, Itaborá, I'm going to check out. I said, Flavinho, my God, what are you doing? Said, no. I need to study. He says, you were poor, but you were white. Doors were open for you no matter what, which is true, and I know that. I knew that back then. Even though I was surrounded by black people, sometimes you normalize things. It's like, what are you talking about? Racism? Come on, I don't see anything. Because you were with them every day, a big, huge crowd. So you're not affected by being singled out. But they were, of course. But when I'm them in Candomblé, in Capoeira Rodas, in Feijoada, in Pagode, some schools, I started parading in a summer school when I was 13 years old. You just feel like I'm part of this culture, and they embrace me. But yeah, but if you're black, you know what's going on, So, and then we never saw each other again. And I came to America. And that's been, 25 years. So I'm doing my research for books, I'm doing research for podcasts, internal podcasts. I'm doing research for the lectures, and I came across these books, this author, Flávio Gomes. I said, it sounds familiar. My God, is it him? So I connect with his sister, Cacilda. I said, Cacilda, are all these your brother's books? Yeah, he's a PhD in African history, teaches here in his university. It's like, oh my God. And then we reconnected. During the pandemic. Broderick, that's huge. An old friend, a childhood friend. But then it's like he wrote 15 books, Quilombo and other topics, and a dictionary for black figures. Important. How would I say it? Black figures that are not in the mainstream. Like female leaders of Quilombos that nobody knows. The leaders of political movements that nobody knows, especially female, and other male that people don't know. And he just had an encyclopedia with João Reis, another author. It's like, I bought almost them all, plus authorship with other writers, famous writers, like all about slavery, African history. And I'm like, oh my! So now when on my research for books, when I come across a bump, Flavinho, help me! Itaborá, click on this link, buy this book. And sometimes it questions me. It's like, I heard there's a Quilombo in Madureira. It's like, who told you that? I read on a PDF. Who wrote it? I mean, his guy's 15 books and 10 more to co-author. I mean, he knows his stuff. He knows how to research. I said, who's the author? And he was like, his sources are not very reliable. And I never heard of a Quilombo in this neighborhood. It's okay, I believe you. But so these are huge reference for me. Moving on, Mestre Nacional, Quilombo. The name is strong. As a school, and the way he sang was so beautiful. The way he sang, Broderick, was just like he's taking me to the ancestors' angels, you know. Mestre Nacional, Mestre Peixinho, beautiful person, very calm. Senzala, very calm, all about the game. He had a very round jogo de dentro game. So the game aspect was Mestre Peixinho, the fighting aspect was Paulinho Malandro, the academic aspect and deep research, understanding more the African culture was Professor Gomes. You know, the powerful, the voice, the music that transported me to the African villages, to the elements, to the diaspora was Mestre Nacional, you know. But then, as we move on with the immersion that I told you earlier, I come across Mestre Moraes, who is for a lot of people, it's controversial. But he's inspiring because he's not afraid to voice his concerns, his political position about racism and the position with the black people in society nowadays. I mean, he's being always like that. And of course, in the beginning, I'm like, oh, you know, but as you get more educated and more immersed, and Capoeira is like, Itaborá, don't be stupid, pay attention to this, pay attention to that. So it becomes an inspiration. People, you don't have to like the personality to have that person inspiration. And give somebody that you like, man, I don't want to sit down to have dinner with this guy, but I like the way he positions himself. That's inspiring, you know. Other things I don't like about him, but I cannot overlook the positive that is creating to the cause. So he's my inspiration. There's another one that is even more than Mestre Moraes, and I'll tell you what. Why? There's a conference, a big festival in Rio in 1984, a big venue. And that's when I met João Grande, Mestre João Grande, Mestre João Pequeno, Zacarias, Mestre. Actually, my first capoeira pants is here with his autographs. It's right here. Mestre Valdemar signed my pants.
Oh, wow.
Mestre Valdemar da Paixão, Mestre João Grande, Mestre João Pequeno, Mestre Itapuã, Mestre, all back then they all signed my first capoeira pants. It's right here. So we had this conference, and it was a 4-day event, right? And there were lectures throughout the day, there were classes, blah, blah, blah. So in the audience, it was an afternoon, I remember that very clearly. And we were in the audience, and there was like a panel on the stage with Mestre Gato, Mestre Peixinho, Mestre Camisa, Mestre Suassuna, Mestre, I think, Gilberto, from Minas Gerais, and another white mestre. Those 8 white mestres in this panel, right? They're discussing capoeira topics. One of them is racism. And I'm like, that doesn't sound very convincing to have 8 white people who actually have control because society, the way it was designed, facilitated them to be in this position right now. And I'm like, okay. And then who's next to me? Mestre Lua Rasta. I think you have heard of him.
Oh, yeah.
He has a shop in Bahia. He makes instruments. Lua Rasta, man, he's my hero. He's on top of all these people. He goes like, hey! And everybody turns, right? I mean, we're like taking, there's a normalization process that these are the mestres, right? Because I grew up on the streets, I'm questioning their positions, like, because I don't like anybody to tell me what to do. It's the nature of being in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
You resolve things. You don't have bosses, you know. But Lua Rasta goes like, hey, and everybody turns, and the panel stops. He was a master from Capoeira Senzala back then.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know
But
that.
he's not there. That's already the second mistake, or maybe the first. He's not there. He's a Capoeira Mestre from Senzala. Hey, you know what? This is all BS. Oh my God, Broderick. People, you listen to me, you have no idea. Everybody froze. Because it's fighting the pyramid of power. At that moment was the pyramid of power. There were 8 white masters there, and this black person says, this is BS. Everybody turned to him, and I froze. I got goosebumps. Says, oh shoot, they're gonna kill him. Oh Rasta, what are you talking about? You are a black person. You are well accepted in our group. I said, you have no idea how racist you guys are. This is BS. This is a waste of time. You guys have no idea what you're talking about because you're not black, and I am. And this group is racist. This is Senzala for real. The name is well given. It's a Senzala you control. And he walked away, and I felt like following him. I felt like I'm going to follow you. God. They were lost. There was like a 10-minute silence. They were like talk about themselves and among themselves, like, okay, guys, don't pinch to this. Senzala group is all inclusive and blah blah blah. I was like, sure, but here's the thing. Well, that day he's like, this is my hero. If he opens a Capoeira group, we're gonna follow him. But he came back to the night activities, for the evening activities, which is even more. How would I say the word, brother? That's for me is more like, I'm signing up right now with you. I want to be the first member of your group, because he came back, knowing that there'll be retaliation. But that's the spirit of somebody who knows. Number one, they know the truth. They know how to position themselves. They have the confidence to say this is BS, and they have the African ancestral element surround you. No matter what you're going to go through, you're not just scared. There's no reason to be scared. When you have a cause that you believe, and you're not going to beat you up, so beat me up. Because I'm not going to change my mindset. I'm not going to change my beliefs. I'm not going to change my fight for this cause. Beat me up. And that's what Dr. King did, and Malcolm X, and all these figures, and Gandhi, and many, many others who became leaders. You have to go through that. It's easy to be in a computer, initiate a movement. Ha ha ha! Black Lives Matter. No, go to the front, to the field, and face the consequence that people may throw tomatoes at you, people are going to go to your face and tell you all these things, and you're like, they slap in your face, police arrest you. These are the images, the moments, the actions that really move people. Because when I look back and I saw all the videos of the civil rights movements here, it's like, it's sad, I cry, it's emotional, but I feel like this is the real deal. That's how you do it. That's how you build a movement. And that's what the Lua Rasta did. He came back. He came back, Broderick, knowing that you'll be facing not only 8 masters, but everybody who follows them who are very fanatics. He knew the consequence. He knew he was going to be beat up badly. But he came back. And that's my reference. That's my hero. Sorry.
Nothing to be sorry about.
These elements come to my life for a reason, Broderick. That's the calling. That's the calling. I face these moments for a reason. This is my reference. Yeah. Became who I am. Really trying to be a voice against the system, being awareness of people, the colonization process that is here. It's here. There were many plans to exterminate black people here in Brazil. There's a book called Apartheid Tropical. Is the scheme and planning in Brazil to exterminate black people and move to pardos and mestizos, mixed race, to enlighten the skin and make people believe you're better now. There's no more black people in this country. So it's devastating. A lot of people don't know these things, but yeah, they happen everywhere. The malandragem Rio, there's a reason. The malandragem Rio, the criminality that is here, happens 500 years ago. You cannot blame anybody. I mean, yeah, well, it's a crime, but, you know, there was so much broken promises to people who did nothing but made people super rich. They're sold by objects. It was a very high value property. The system of slavery, it's simply, people have no clue. Did I send you the diagram?
Mm-mm.
Oh, I'll send it to you.
Okay.
It starts way at the top. I develop it's called diagram, right? I think. Because as I think sometimes people think, well, there was like the 3 or 4 mission ships. They went to the coast of Africa and brought a lot of Africans. No, it's a huge, well-elaborated structure. There were banks in Holland and Sweden sponsoring this, insurance companies, brokers, merchant ships, builders, the church, the crown. It's simply huge. And lasts over 300 years. Almost 5 million Africans. They made people, these are the beginning of corporations who nowadays, 100 years ago, oil companies go to Africa, Jamaica, South America, Central America, they keep exploiting. But the beginning of this huge structure where imperial courts from England, France, Holland, Portugal, Spain, and I'll tell you more. Oh, but there were dictators. Slavery, the process of enslavement in Africa was different.
Yeah.
Spoils of wars. They're not properties. They work for a king, a queen, and they'll be retraded back to their country, to their nations, to their kingdoms. You know, I don't like to use the name tribe. It's a colonizer language. Oh, Africa is a primitive colonized language. A well-advanced society. As a matter of fact, a lot of people who were brought, a lot of Africans, Broderick, there is specialized labor force for agriculture, for mining, for melting-smith. They just like pick up a random kid by the river. Hey, you're going to go to Brazil now as a slave. No. There were a selected number of nobles and craftsmen, people who knew their trade very well. They were like selected. Most of them. It's not like this primitive, please, not primitive, not tribe. There were nations, there were states, and their kingdoms. The kingdom of Oyo and Dahomey and others, well advanced.
Yeah.
So I'm developing my third lecture, and I'll send you a diagram when we're done, to give people some perspective. That wasn't that simple. Like, oh, merchant ships, load everybody up, let's go to Brazil. No, it's not like that. It's a huge, elaborated process that lasts for a long time. In this process, people don't want to lose anything because it's valuable. It's so valuable. Well, let me go back to the people say, oh, but the kings in Africa sold. No. Slavery in Africa was different. They're not fugitives, and they're not merchandise. They're not used to be making profits for the kings. No. I captured 8 8 Africans from your tribe. They're going to work for me for 5 years. Unless you want them back, we can renegotiate. And there's no torture. It's like, you're mine now. You're going to do this and that. Okay. But then you renegotiate because they want them back. They're not fugitives as merchants. Nobody's with the Libambo marching this big line to be shipped to Brazil as merchandise, where people like so careful. Don't hurt them. Don't whip them because they cost a lot. It's different. And number two, the white people, the colonizers, planted the seed of greed. Mm-hmm. And then you have sobas, where local landlords. It's like the apple in the Eden garden. It's a symbolism of the ego, the greed. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, the white colonizers and the Catholic Church brings the apple of the Garden of Eden. Money, 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 money. You can buy more weapons. You can take over your kingdom. It can be your kingdom. You can have 35 wives. You can have 100 slaves. And the human beings sometimes were taken by those moments of the apple. It's like, I'm going to grab this apple. Boom! And then becomes this huge, huge thing of, it's a business now. We're going to conquer your country, your state, your nation, because you want as many Africans as possible enslaved to sell to Brazil and be money, buy weapons and control and be in control. Our kingdom is going to be the biggest in Africa. That is not African. Mm-hmm. Africa is different. They plant the seed of greed. This is me. This is me. From my research for years, there was no such a thing in Africa before. So I don't know why it went that on that tangent. So sorry.
No, I think it's important because you're stressing how Mestre Itaborá was such
the references,
a good reference and inspiration. And you know, I really appreciate how you bring this in. You've emphasized throughout the importance of the African heritage of capoeira. And you know, I often explain to folks that capoeira comes out of the crucible of slavery, the crucible of violence. And I really appreciate how you share that history and how you share that passion about that foundation of capoeira, and really encouraging us as students of capoeira to remember that, don't forget that, and I love how you're just being upfront about that history and about, you know, that story with Mestre Itaborá, and like, hey, I'm going to stand up. And really stress that you're not acknowledging this. And you know what? I'm going to show you all too that I'm going to come back. I mean, it's so huge. I think it's a big, powerful lesson for all of us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because of that moment, of course, I learned much later. That's what Dr. King did. We're going to march today.
Yeah.
Be ready. They're going to beat you up with sticks. We're going to go. We have to go. We have to show our point. We have to defend our cause. We have to stop this. And that's what Lua Rasta did. Maybe he heard stories about Dr. King, you know, because he came back. And we are nervous because we know how the environment was. It's all about dominance. It's all about, you don't challenge the system. These are my masters. This is Senzala core. Who are you, Rasta? You are ungrateful. You always come to those terms. Mm-hmm. Why am I ungrateful? You have pity of me because I'm black? Yeah. So when you say, you are a black person in this group, so you're not racist. Oh my God. He came back. I was like, I love Rasta, man. I should have a picture of Rasta next to Bob Marley. You know?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is great. Another common theme that you said is that capoeira is a calling, and I think you've already addressed some of this, but can you say a little bit more about what capoeira has taught you about life and the impact that capoeira has had on your life? Can you say a little bit more? I know you said a lot of it already, but I want to see, can I pull a little bit more out of you about that?
Sure. Like I said, you realize like when you surrender to this art or anything, in the beginning of my relationship with Chitra, I was like, so I'm not really enjoying fully the love she had for me because I'm like defended by that. You want to control me? No, and then it's like, man, this is so powerful. She loves me. You surrender. When you surrender, your life changes. So I got immersed in Capoeira. Capoeira is telling me, Capoeira is guiding me to better places emotionally, historically, in a society where I feel like it's a big part of my life, and I feel like when I go to these places, there's an immediate identity. We're Capoeira people, but Capoeira brings me a better understanding about my connection with the ancestralism and what it means, like the rituals, the drumming, the music, the element of resistance. The Central Africa, especially because the Bantu people, the majority who came to Rio, of getting together to discuss things, that Africa element of like, and I heard this lately, very important, Broderick, when Africa, because the Irmandade is something we can share later, the Irmandade, they were societies black societies that aim to help people with funeral, with legal aid and food, but they included even immigrants who are taking their jobs away. That's the African spirit. When they do something for the communities, they involve everybody. And I'm going to tell you this. If you think about, I don't know, a year or 2 years ago, there was an Asian problem here, people being with hate, whatever, hate comments, hate crimes. You see outdoors from the black movement saying, we support an Asian community. Sorry, I'm wrong. I'm not blind, but I don't see the other way around. And that's okay. Asians take care of their own. Latinos take care of their own. It's fine. But think about it, how Africans do it. Is in their DNA, African American DNA. African Americans, African Brazilians, when they do something to the community, they involve everybody. That element is Central African. They had a problem, they sit and discuss and try to resolve it. There's no things like that. That was carried over to Brazil, colonial time, to Zumbi, to Palmares, to a lot of things like that. So then you realize, Broderick, Capoeira changed my life. How? I feel like I belong to something very powerful. Just very powerful. Very powerful. It's Capoeira. The history, the suffering, the hardships, the death, the torturing, makes this thing strong and big inside of you. And I feel like I'm going to fight for this. I'm going to bring enlightenment when I can to people who want to know about this art or think they're misleading the art. But how Capoeira changed my life is to have that mindset or belong to something very, very big. Not a corporation, not Google, not Apple, not this, not that, not dressing this way. Nothing that matters. And this art is so complete that sometimes, or maybe 10 years ago, I wanted the mainstream to see it. Now I don't want it. This is special. You need to fight hard to enter this inner circle. And Broderick and myself and Salim and others and Aldo will prepare you like an initiation process to throw you to this big field, and you decide if you want to surrender. You need to surrender. You need to surrender. You have to give up a lot of stuff to feel what I feel. I always mentioned years ago when I realized, when I went to the immersion, when I answered to the calling, I said, India has a yoga, and you are an amazing yoga instructor. So is Salim. So you know what I'm talking about. India has a yoga, and it's beautiful. It's spiritual, it's deep. Not the sweat yoga, forget about that. India has Tai Chi. This flow energy is so good for people, right? These two arts, spiritually deep, meaningful, makes you feel good. Compared to capoeira, there's some limitations.
Mm-hmm.
Capoeira has the music, that roda, that brings everybody together, and you connect with movements. Yeah, your yoga is going to help you with that.
Mm-hmm.
Your Tai Chi sense of flow and connection is going to help with that. But capoeira is so complete. Because in one place, you learn how to connect with ancestors, with the art, with your friends. You feel the music, that beat. Everything is divine design, Broderick. It's not random. Everything is divine design. That's the gift. You leave a roda like renewed. You leave a roda like you don't want to leave the roda.
No.
You know, it just grabs you. It just grabs you. Feel good. You sit there, watch people connecting, having fun, and music, and the quebradas, and the expressions, and everything has a reason. Nothing's like imitating. Actually, I teach that. I say, don't imitate. You have to understand where these all things come from. It's all connected to Africa, to Candomblé de Caboclo, to rituals in Congo. Everything the Angoleiros do has a reason, or vadiadores, because not everybody's Angoleiro, but they do vadiação. I'm not an Angoleiro. I'm Angoleiro in my heart. Oh, I play capoeira. I don't play capoeira Angola. I do my vadiação according to what I know. But I think I know how to connect with the art. You know, I'm not criticizing anybody, but I realized there was capoeira de vadiação. There was vadiação before Angola and regional. Those came later. Thank to Mestre Pastinha, who says, no, it's going to be capoeira Angola because of this and that, because you need to find the system. Because Mestre Bima was an Angoleiro, people forget that. Mm-hmm. Mestre Bima was an Angoleiro, and he went to Rio, didn't do well his fight, because he was a very famous fighter in Bahia, very talented, of course. I give credit for him. There's no question about it. He revolutionized this whole thing. But he was an Angoleiro. He went to Rio 1920s to participate in a street fighting, organized, and then he didn't do well because he never saw capoeira like that. Fight oriented. There's no beating bow, just boom. He didn't do well. He comes back, decides to do luta regional baiana. He had booklets like people had in Rio already, so he copied a lot of stuff to make this style, which is great. He made very popular. What I'm talking about. He was an Angoleiro. So Mestre Pastinha decides with others, Valdemar and Trair, and to follow this path of preserving the roots of the art and not fall into this capoeira sport luta only. In my view, it's my opinion. There were times when capoeira needed to be luta and fight. We don't need to keep the legacy. In Hinduism, I don't know how many thousands of years ago, people sacrificed animals. It's not the case anymore. Mm-hmm. It's okay to change traditions. Tradition can change. I can have a roda to one beating bow and 5 pandeiros. It's my tradition. You can say, that's not a capoeira tradition. Okay. There are all the rodas with 4 beating bows and a guitar. Mm-hmm. In 1930s. So, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, capoeira for me is complete. I have an opportunity to connect, to feel music, to play music, to learn about history, to socialize, to learn my own fears. It's almost like my own therapy, because I go to capoeira roda, it's like, why am I nervous? Oh, that person here has because when you are in tune with these elements of capoeira, Broderick, when you are in tune with the essence of the art in your heart and your soul, you sense energies. Oh, this person wants to go a different direction. They want to fight or they want to prove something. You sense that. Mm-hmm. You know, you become aware of things. You go to capoeira roda, you pay attention to things. You sense energies. It's like, I don't want to play with this person. You learn about a song that has a message. It's like going to school. Every roda is like a school It's a school the session. You're going to school. You're going, you learn so much, but at the same time, you are exposed. You are open to that energy, that flow of energy. That if you do not understand the music, that beat and the berimbau tuning, the berimbau beats, it gets to your system, and it's relaxing, and it's just beautiful, and just so how it changed my life that way. I know I belong to a very powerful art. The church is good for you. I don't belong to any church. I don't do yoga. I wish I could. Tai Chi, I think it's beautiful to watch it, but I'm not into that. Candomblé, yeah, I used to be Ogan, but I'm playing drums. I'm not in the middle, connecting, discovering things about myself. When you play the game, it's like, oh, he got me, she got me. Oh my God, I didn't see it coming. And you learn how to accept. Big part of capoeira for me, especially from the lessons of the game, is to learn how to accept. You're not going to be a winner all the time. There's no such a thing. It's not a game of winning. It's a game of connecting. It's a game of balance. It's a game of learning. And I go outside, I'm not going to try to win everything. It's not about that. It's about being flexible and learn what the situation is calling for. Maybe that situation is calling for volta ao mundo. I don't need to be confrontational. Even though those guy wants to beat me up, he doesn't want to pay for whatever. He messed up my seats on the Uber drive. It's not time to fight. Most likely I'm going to lose the fight. He's a customer. He can say whatever he wants. To volta ao mundo. I'm going to use the capoeira philosophy to do volta ao mundo now and survive that moment and say, sir, thank you very much. Don't worry about it. I'll clean it up. It's easy. Capoeira philosophy. Sometimes I'm going to buy the game because he's yelling at me. Turn here, turn there. Say, sir, I'm following the GPS. Now I'm buying the game.
Right.
If you have a better route, please politely tell me, but don't yell at me. I don't need that. Oh, no, I understand it. I'm not local. I'm following the GPS. So if you have a better route, I'll follow you. I have no problem with that. But don't yell at me, please. Paying for this ride does not give you the right to yell at me. That's when I buy the game. And sometimes they say, I told you to turn right, you turn left. I said, oh, shoot. Now it's time to let them buy the game and beat me up. I said, sir, I'm really, really sorry. Sorry, I was distracted. It's my fault. Capoeira philosophy. Oh. So I played 3 games without being hurt or hurt anybody. That's how capoeira affects my life every single day. You learn how to compromise because the game, Broderick, the physical part of the game, the art, is about compromising. In order to connect with people, you need to compromise. It cannot be your way all the time. No, that's how I play because I'm Itabora. Because no, forget about it. You're connecting. You give room for this dialogue to happen. They may not agree with you. That's it. When you put your foot there, they're going to pass a pay on you. The other day, somebody took me down here last year at the lake. It's a very silly move I did. He just, boom, he did a pass a pay on me. I went flat on the floor. And everybody had these big eyes. I stood up, I shook his hand, I hugged him, said, oh my God, thank you very much. It is that way for me. That's, I don't know if I answer your question because I can go forever with this.
No, I loved it. You answered it and some. Those I was going to ask you all those questions about the philosophy and like what makes capoeira so special and yeah, you included all of that. It's so beautiful, and man, you can elaborate even more. I'm glad you brought up the compromise, the connection. I know that at a workshop you were talking about that approach to the game, and you had these 4 or 5 principles you were trying to encourage us. I didn't take that particular workshop, but I heard about it. How you were encouraging people to engage in those 5 principles of concept. I know that compromise was one of them, connection was one of them, smile was one of them, and it speaks to what you're getting at and what you're saying about what makes capoeira so special. And man, you're right. For me, I feel that too. It's when it takes hold of you. It's just,
Yeah.
it's divine. I love how you
There's
say
no other
it.
word. There's not another word. And I'll tell you more, Broderick. The art is so perfect.
Yeah.
Pay attention, audience. This art is so perfect that has temptations for you to mess up.
Mm.
It offers room for you to grab that apple, just like in life.
Yeah.
Some people are like, oh my God, the guy forgot his wallet. Don't grab the apple. Forget about it. Oh, I went to this event. Nobody introduced me. I'm gonna get in the game and beat up everybody to prove. Don't grab the apple.
Mm.
Capoeira should not. A capoeira roda for some people is a stage. They do a solo. The other guys wants to play a game and connect. They're like, you're doing all this crazy stuff because you want to show off. Capoeira at that moment is a stage. You grab the apple. Capoeira roda is a tempo.
Yes.
Contemplate the bateria, respect the ancestors, and then play your game to connect. Even if you don't like that person, she's in front of you right now, let's connect because you're pleasing the ancestors right there. And that's when you say, I love capoeira, prove it.
Yeah.
Don't grab that apple. Pay respect to the ancestors because they're a big part of it. Contemplate the bateria because the bateria is the bridge for you to feel the ancestors and feel the connection. But the first connection is with you in capoeira. The first connection. You go to the capoeira, you go to the berimbau, you listen, you connect to the ancestors. You go to the game. Now that you're connected, you checked in, now you connect with your player. That's the order of things. Don't grab the apple. Don't grab the apple. So I think people need to be educated on that. Of course, it's going to take a while, but some people understand that, other people don't. It's all driven by me, me, me. Forget the me, me, me. The me, me, me outside is the same problem. You're going to go just so far. You know, it's about compromising. It's about connecting. When you compromise, you actually not being hurt in any ways. You actually showing that you're humble to accept more opportunities. Because after the compromising game, when somebody's challenging you, and you just with a smile and you survive, you're going to make a new friend.
Yes.
If you don't make a new friend, that person's going to be thinking about you. It's like, shoot, I provoked this person a lot. He never retaliated. I wonder why. That's crazy. I want to play him again. And you keep your standards, which is to connect to the art. I don't go to church to fight the guy next to me yelling when he's reading the prayer. Like, keep yelling. I'm going to do my own silently. You know, maybe the person's going to play with me again, and my attitude is going to be the same. Or I decide not to play. I don't want to get hurt. But that's for me is the main core. In order to connect, you have to compromise. But by compromise, you're not losing anything. You're winning.
Yeah. Love it. I love it. You know, I love that, in this idea of what they call a positive sum game. It's the win-win. Capoeira is like the perfect win-win. If we take advantage of it, like you say, if we don't take that apple, man, it's transcendent. If we take advantage, if we do what you're saying, if we listen, if we tune in like you're saying, it's a win-win. We transcend ourselves. Two people, a group of coming together in this community.
It's all over. It's all this stuff. But you need to surrender.
Yeah.
When you go to Capoeira Roda, it can be 5 people or 500. You surrender to that. Don't go judging.
Yeah.
Oh, these people are playing like this. No, you know what? If something you don't like, you go to the park. The park is all dirty. It's broken glass here. Mean dogs right there. It's like, not today. I'm going to find another park, You go to a roda that's not what you think should be the roda to connect, to make friends, to express yourself, to absorb the energy of others in a good way, with good vibes with the games, and then leave. You go someplace else. You don't need to stay there. But if there's a place where you feel that there's a connection here, people really care about the art, It doesn't matter how many people are here. I'm going to give there's 5 people, now there's 6. I came here to contribute. I'm doing my part. I'm going to clap. I'm going to sing. I want to be here with them. I want to be here 100% and do my 200% to generate more energy because you're in a smaller number. I'm going to give more. That's how I see it. There's no like, no, I'm going to this hall. There's only 5 people. No. So yeah. So you go to the church to pray or to the temple and you look around, there's 2 people on this huge area. I'm not going to pray today. There's only 2 people here. But I didn't go to the church to see people. I want the church to connect to a higher force. Yeah. Whatever it is that I believe, I'm going to pray. It doesn't matter if there's 2 people, 500. I don't get it. So when I go to Capoeira Roda, it's because the calling, there's a Capoeira Roda. There are many elements there that I recognize. The bateria, the formation, the singing, the circle, and the games. I'm going for those elements. Oh, but there's only 5 people. Who cares? There's 6 now. We're going to make it happen to 6 people.
Yeah.
That's why I compare things.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So beautiful. Man, what a beautiful vision. What a beautiful philosophy. What a beautiful... And it's a life, I think it's a testament to your life dedicated to capoeira since you're a kid, Well, we consider a kid now. I mean, you were a kid. Just to, was it 54 years, you said?
54. Went to 55 now. Non-stop.
Wow. And just all of that life dedicated and those stories where you listen to the call of capoeira and now you have that wisdom, that experience that you can teach the rest of us. Yeah, and in that humility, I'm still learning. And like reminding us listeners, like, yes, keep learning. Keep learning. Don't grab that apple. It's going to be tempting. Don't do it. And that message is so beautiful, Master. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
You covered a lot of the things and questions I wanted to ask, but there's another important question that, and again, you can say whatever you want to say about capoeira. It's just amazing. I'm really thoroughly enjoying it. But you said that you're like a caretaker for capoeira. Can you share? So I guess like, what's your vision for capoeira? What are your hopes and dreams for capoeira?
Broderick, as caretakers, right? And you are a caretaker. You have capoeira. See, the thing is, Broderick, after a while, you don't do capoeira. You don't. You are capoeira. That's different. Do you do capoeira? No, I am capoeira. I am capoeira.
Yes,
you become. You become. Right? You are it long enough in the art, but long enough as a caretaker, not as the owner. No, you are long enough, humbling, accepting the call, and follow what capoeira tells you to do, and you take care of the art, and then you become. You just become. So my hopes, my fear, let's start with my fear. I don't have much of that fear in Brazil because capoeira is so strong there, and there are many grassroots movements, angoleiros, vadiadores, black movement that bring awareness of the cultural aspect of capoeira. Capoeira is an ancestor culture, not sport. But we are away from the source. What prevails here, you and me, a almost invisible minority compared to the flashy side of things, MMA, sports, Instagram likes, need for popularity, need to be seen. People go to Capoeira Roda and they have a designated recording person, grab my phone and film my games. And then, so you don't play to connect. You play for that video to be on Instagram in 15 minutes. And then after 15 minutes, you check the likes. And I'm talking about thousands of people who do that. They don't care about connecting with another person. They don't care about playing a 4-minute game, which is not even a long game. They play a 20, 25, 30-second game because somebody buys them out anyways. They run to their friend. Let me check. Forget the tempo, forget the ritual, forget everything. Nothing matters. This is going to the 7-Eleven to buy candy. And you step out of the roda, you check the video, you like your game, and then you go to Instagram. Boom! Go back to the roda. 15 minutes later, there's no understanding of the art, no respect. They go with little tops, shorts, whatever. It's about the looks and the visual. They don't know what people are singing. People are singing, don't know what they're singing. The bateria plays sometimes, it's okay. I know everybody has their own things. But sometimes like the tribirimbau playing the same thing because people don't know. And that scares me. So if you don't have caretakers like you, myself, and many, many others, zeladores, bringing awareness of the capoeira as a ancestor culture. If we don't do that, we're going to be more and more detaching ourselves from the roots that started on the first merchant ship arriving on the coast of Africa. That's going to be something you're going to be reading books. And the beauty and the strength of the African culture all over the place. I'm going to mention Brazil because there's Africans here, of course, Caribbean. I mention Brazil for many reasons. Over 300 years, 5 million slaves, enslaved Africans. There's no place like Brazil for folklore, African-related folklore. Nothing. We have so much batuque, jongo, lundu, capoeira, maculelê, puxada de rede, and goes on. All Africa. It wasn't for the African resilience and strength to let's not lose what we have. We're very close to lose it because we're far away from the mainland. They separate our families. We're nothing. We're merchandise. We need to fight hard. We need to be together. We need to develop meetings, places to meet. Quilombos the first place, and then comes the quitandas and the zungu houses and the irmandades and more and more and more to keep the culture alive and strong and even adapt to new traditions in Brazil from all this mixing of African cultures because they didn't know. A person from Nigeria didn't know it was going in Mozambique in 1500, 1600, but they learned in Brazil. They learned in the merchant ships, by the way. But in Brazil, they said, you know what? You have your thing, I have my thing, let's put them together. Like Candomblé, for example. A Xangô from Oyo didn't know about a god, a voodoo god from Dahomey or from Mozambique. They learned, and they said, you know what? I don't know about your god, you don't know about your god, but we're Africans. Let's create a rituals that include everybody, and that's Candomblé. A unique thing in Brazil, like Xangô, Xhosa, Oxum, Yansan, and many others in one xirê, in one session. It's like, but this is what we need to think about and keep carrying on. We cannot let this thing die and then reading books one day, show your grandkids, say, look, it used to be like that. So now I don't know. It's not happening anymore because the need people here in this country, and maybe in others, in Brazil too, but I live here, so I'm going to talk from this perspective. There's so much anxiety. So much anxiety. Everybody's like, the way they drive, the way they cross the street like, where are you? You know, nobody wants to connect. I'm gonna open a new business one day to teach people how to hug and shake hands. I'm gonna make money. So, and then comes this need to be seen. And capoeira is also, I call, a crutch. It helps the blind, it helps the crooked, it helps the handicapped. Because all of a sudden, you are a nobody, you are this introverted person scared of everybody, and you feel like there's no confidence, no self-esteem, but then you discover capoeira, and all of a sudden, you do something, and then capoeira makes you popular, and then you open an Instagram account, and you do some movements, maybe you have gymnastics background, and you do some flips, and then a meia lua, and all of a sudden you have more likes and more followers, and you feel like, wow, I'm a capoeira guy, and then you play berimbau, and then you're teaching capoeira movements. I said, huh? Just like that? Because you're very athletic, and you did gymnastics as a little kid with Sally, your little sister, your parents from the suburbs took to gymnastics, and now you discover this capoeira thing that has acrobatics, and then now you're a popular guy on Instagram. You pump a lot, you're all cut, you teach capoeira movements. It's like, wow, that's simple? That guy has no clue about what we talk about today, which is the essence of the art. You need to know the roots, you need to look. It doesn't matter if you're white. Research, respect the art. I don't go to church because it's a black church or white church. I go to the church. Well, when I get the door, the white person says, you cannot come here. So I'm sorry. I want to read. I want to preach in the corner. I want to pray in a corner or inside my car. If you go to a church, a black person says, no, you cannot be here. No problem. I'm sorry. But you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. People cannot lose, but they will. And some people don't even know they exist. These championships right now is so popular. Broderick, that person who wants to be a world champion, do you think she or he will spend 3 hours practicing balls, rhythm, cantigas, learn about the African diaspora? No. They'll be doing meia luas and play games and doing nutrition and exercise and personal training and kicking the bag and doing backflips and going to a gymnastics class to improve their acrobatics. That's what they'll be doing. Okay, let me tell you this. 5 years from now, because they're going to be world champion. 5 years from now, I say, hey, my friend, could you please show me a Angola dobrada? What are you talking about? No, I'm giving you berimbau to lead a roda. What's a roda? And here's the problem, another problem. Here's Broderick, a wizard, a very wise person, an Angoleiro with so much essence, so much understanding of the art, a black person who needs to keep in touch with ancestors every single day. They're charging you. They're charging you. So, Broderick, what you doing for us? But guess it's going to happen. You have your class, if that's one your livelihood, or ways to generate some form of income to help communities. Nobody's going to go to your class. They're going to take a class with the world champion. Oh, this is Broderick. He's old. Yeah, I want to take my kids to world champion. And the world champion, with no clue about what we're talking about, no clue about the roots of the art, no clue about the sense, no clue what people suffered, no clue how many thousands died in the basement of merchant ships before they arrived in Brazil. They don't have no clue when pirates attacked those ships loaded with 2,600 or whoever, how many they could not put there, they double because they want to make more money. So they're like this, like sardines. A pirate ship surrounds ships, boats surround the merchant ships and kills everybody. Now, the people on top, they jump to the water, they get their rafts, they get their whatever, their saving boats and whatever. But those Africans, enslaved Africans in the basement, all locked up, can you take a 10 seconds to imagine the suffering, the screaming, the desperation? Mm-hmm. So if there were 600 people in a place where only supports 300, but the 600, because the greedy colonizer wants to make more money. they all went down dead by fire and drowning. Those world champions don't know about that. They know they don't care. What prevails is the ego, is the apple. I want to be world champion. I want to be popular. I want to have 100,000 followers on Instagram. La 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 la. It's berimbau. What's a berimbau? What? This is my fear, and this is what I want. I want to gather the more caretakers like us. I want to bring awareness and bring people to our circle to say, we want to save your life. To be a better person. Drop the ego, forget the apple, eat mangoes, eat bananas, but not the apple. That's what I have to say.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. That really speaks to your the message that you have and the legacy. I know you're still learning, you're still growing, you still have a lot more to teach.
I'm learning every day. I read a lot. I call people. I want to, because it's a calling.
Yeah.
It's a calling. Cool.
Any, this has been amazing. Any words that you can extend out to the future generations, and what do you suggest for us? I know you just mentioned a lot of it. I know you did, but any more? I'm trying to pull as much as I can out of you. Any more that you would love to?
I need also to go. There's people here to fix things, but my message is reinforced what I just said. Please respect the art. Don't take this only by sports or a flashy thing that you're going to be using for your own profit. Don't treat it as a product. Please don't. It's so disrespectful. And learn how to be a caretaker. If you are right on the edge, find mentorship. That's one thing I suggest. Find mentorship. Well, it's hard to find mentorship. Who is who? Who knows what? We don't know. That's a quest. That's a challenge.
Yeah.
What I tell people, Broderick, you go to the church, you belong to an association. The priest mistreats you, is rude to you, change churches. But don't stop your faith. People are people. People are going to make mistakes. I don't believe in God anymore. Why? Oh, because the priest called me whatever. That's a human being like you. He maybe studied a little longer than you, the Bible or the Quran, the Torah, the Quran, but it's a human being. She wants to control you. He wants to control you. But if you believe in a higher power, he should be the mediator. He should be the messenger, like I am the messenger for Capoeira. That's all. Change churches. Find a church where the priest acts as a real messenger, mediator, facilitate your understanding of the faith, of the words of this God or this higher power. And that's what we do. You, me, Salim, Jogo de Dentro, Moraes, and many others. We are facilitators. Find. It's going to be easy? No. We're going to bump you. Oh, Itabora told, but this guy is a piece of work. Well, yeah, okay, keep trying.
Yeah.
Until you're going to find out. Broderick, trust me. I found all my answers. Because I changed 5 groups. People make fun of me. I don't care less. 4 or 5 groups. Because I didn't find a mediator. I didn't find a messenger. I did not. And then I decide, forget it. I'm going to be on my own, and I'm going to trust Capoeira. Capoeira is going to find and show me the way. And he showed me the way. Going to deep research into the elements of diaspora. Through that, many mentors are coming to my life. James Birimbau is one of them. He's a very smart person, even though he's young. Mestre Negativo, simply amazing. Another level. I found another mentor. Ayuma, she was here recently. Another mentor. So I'm finding all these mentors because I surrendered and I asked for guidance. I said, going to these groups to find the messenger took to nowhere. But that's okay. It's part of the process. It's like tasting food. I like this one, I don't like that one. And then you find your plate. You make your plate. Now I know what to order. And now I know where to go. Flavio Gomes, my friend from childhood, who was a doctor, it's all capoeira calling me. So my advice to the audience, if you think I said something useful, because all I care is respect the art. I think your group is important, you think it's important, that's okay. But when you stop respecting the art and following personal ideologies, which I see a lot with these masters, me, my style, my group, me, and then I walk away. It has to be capoeira. But to be capoeira mastery of these groups, you need to surrender and connect with people. Don't grab the apple and hurt people because you're arrogant. This is my advice. Find a mentorship. If you think Broderick and myself taught you somehow about contemplating and respecting this powerful art that can change your life and has changed many lives all over the world. But sometimes people take just one little part of capoeira, the product, the opportunity to be popular. Forget about that. What sadhus do go? What gurus do? They're called Broderick, not detachables, renunciates.
Yeah, renunciates. Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
They isolate themselves. They renunciate everything, all the temptations of daily lives here, all the apples. They go to the jungle. They go to the woods. And they go into deep meditation, and they go into deep understanding to achieve a high spiritual level. That's what I did. I renunciate. I renunciate groups' ideologies. They take me nowhere. They take to fragmentation. Okay, I need to finish this. Find a mentorship. If you think Broderick has a message, if you think I have a message. If you are already there, another thing I advise, develop. Make it a normal thing, maybe once a month, maybe every 2 weeks, a study group. Capoeira has to have social historical elements in your class. Otherwise, it's fitness. Ginga, sweat, ginga, meia lua. No, please, don't do that. Develop a study group. Pick one topic. What's Pelourinho? Tell your students to research what Pelourinho is. Come to that day and everybody, Pelourinho is this, that. Pelourinho is this and that. Okay, and then you have a study groups, and at the end, people are going to learn what Pelourinho is, the neighborhood, the torture element, and whatever, whatever it is. Let's talk about what's Santo Amaro. Santo Amaro is an important city. So this is the steps you have to take. Myself, I have a lot of resources. I have a library of maybe 300 titles about the African diaspora, and goes from capoeira jongo, from ginga, rainha ginga, in Matamba, to the colonizer bankers, is sponsoring. I have all that. So if I can guide you on that, a lot of materials in Portuguese, but they are in English. But yeah, if you are immersed in the art, I think eventually you should learn the language as well to facilitate that approach, that access to literature. So, find mentorship, develop a study group, and learn how to contemplate the art. Because otherwise you're going to lose a link to the ancestor culture, which is capoeira. There's a difference, Broderick, ancestor culture. Capoeira is cultura ancestral. There's a difference when you see na Capoeira Angola roda. It's a lot of rituals, a lot of expression, a lot of feelings, a lot of celebration, inner celebration. Not like, it's just inner celebration, you're feeling it. And that feels so good that you don't want to stop playing. It's like, man, I'm enjoying that. Oh my God, I love capoeira. You keep moving. And that comes a little challenge because the game is challenged, but you keep adapting and you keep connecting. Oh man, what a feeling. That's ancestral, that's cultural ancestralism. But you move that to sport. Then you have two people facing each other to a tournament. That's culture of entertainment. That's exploiting the art for your own profit. And most of the time, who wins? the colonizers. Those two puppets is new slavery. Is we call in Brazil escravo de ganho. Escravo de ganho is when some enslaved Africans were able, because they work in the house, they were able to go outside and advertise themselves to provide service to other houses. So they get paid themselves directly. It's called escravos de ganho. I'm sure there's something indentured slaves. I think that's the word. I think so. That's what they are. Who's on top of these championship organizations? It's white people. It's just all white people. So I'm going to make some people happy, unhappy. I couldn't care less. Remember I told you half an hour ago, I'm empowered because Capoeira is in me. I don't have any fear. This is what Capoeira wants us to do. And that's why we're here for 3 hours doing this. That's my final message.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This has been beautiful, amazing, beyond words. Thank you so much. And looking forward to more conversations offline. But
for sure.
Thank you.
So much to share.
Yes.
And learning this process, because this art is, Broderick, just to really finalize it, when I see people like, on this slavery process, with over 300 years, audience, please pay attention to this, 300 years, close to 5 million Africans, with different rituals, different languages, different cultures, different beliefs. Do you think you can call yourself a master of this art? Who are you? AI genius? Einstein? I don't know. How can you master a massive flow of people and cultures and rituals and food and everything? 5 million people bring different things to one place, and you think, oh, I'm a capoeira master. No. Well, you can teach one thing about capoeira, that's fine, I can take that. But a master? Slow down. Become a caretaker is easier. Thanks so much, Broderick. Have a great day. Thanks for the opportunity. All of you who stayed this long, thank you very much for your patience. I hope you got something from here. And if you need more questions, if you had some answers for something, talk to the facilitator. He's an amazing person. He's a true caretaker. And we are now joining forces to keep moving forward to bring awareness to the capoeira as an ancestral culture. Don't forget that. Yeah.